This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
This is Jimmy Lamp.
This is Matt Vassallo with the RhinstoneWorld.com.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by...
My name is Terry Combs, RG, regular guy.
And Aaron Montgomery.
We're just regular guys having fun and trying to make a living in this really cool and exciting industry.
I think we all want to succeed 100% of the time.
Seek to understand before I try and make myself understood.
Bring a ton of great information.
Coming to you live from somewhere dark, dirty, and dank.
All right, welcome to the show. It is Friday, July 7th, 2023. Aaron, I'm going to put my heels down, slow this year down a little bit.
Yeah. If you could just yank on it a little bit for us.
Right. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. Terry, today we've got Lauren Kilgore going to be joining us. She's got a business called Handmade Sellers University. And as the name says there, sellers, she's going to be joining us to discuss selling online. She's an expert in a lot of things, and I've really enjoyed getting to know her. She's got a ton of experience to help people build their Etsy stores and just on other online platforms. So we're gonna talk about that today, and she's gonna leave us with some tips to master online selling, and obviously we'll have a little fun along the way, which we always do.
It's our thing.
Yeah, it is our thing. So we've got some people already checking in this morning, Terry. So that let's welcome in some of the regulators here. So if you are joining us and you're new to the show and you become a regular listener, you become a regulator. Thanks to Christine Shreve for coming up with the name, and we love our regulators. So Darren was early on this morning, said hi fam. So hopefully he's able to tune back in. We've got Jerry, good morning, and Todd from Fat Dad Wholesale joining us. And Barb from North Central Minnesota tuning in. And Chuck, good morning, fellas. We're just flying here, Erica. We got Rena saying good morning, Aaron and Terry. Looking forward to today and your special guest. Yeah, I would say I have Rena to thank for getting to meet Lauren. So that's appreciate that, Rena. So we'll just leave it at that. So we're excited to have this conversation here today. But we do have a little news segment, Terry. So should we go ahead and dive into that?
Yeah, let's hear the news.
All right. Well, whenever you're ready, Eric.
Morning, gentlemen, regulators. Thank you very much for having me. Today's news is unfortunately pre-recorded thanks to the big service windows of local contractors. So let's dive right in. Master Italia, the parent company of Atlantis Headwear, announces Federico Piscini and Elisa Pavan to its board of directors. Piscini will now act as the vice president of Atlantis Headwear. Pavan is the product and sustainability manager for the company. In other news, Curbside Apparel is a new screen printing company that joins the Homeless Alliance of Oklahoma City's growing list of social enterprises that aim to help people experiencing homelessness. The new company is providing program participants with new job skills so they can transition out of homelessness. Community members and organizations already have been connecting with the new company to meet their printing needs that include custom t-shirts, posters, and other items created at Curbside Apparel's shop. The enterprise has also created a magazine with some goals of lifting people out of homelessness. So although this is slightly tongue-in-cheek, I'm right there with you when I say that today's feel-good story is tomorrow's competition. And finally, the me portion of the news. Be sure to join me at GPX Portland, July 19th and 20th in Portland, Oregon. The show features a variety of programs designed to educate and inform those involved in the decorative apparel market. Some of the classes being held include using software to grow your business, the easiest way to print apparel, and perfect print placement. Renowned apparel decorator Lon Winters of Graphic Elephants will teach his own class, tips and techniques for high-impact, profitable screen printing, as well as host an apparel decorator panel. Panelists for the show include Dallas Lowry of Opaque Screen Printing master Mark Gervais, Alyssa Serrano and Rodney Kuda of Don't Lose Hope Screen Print, Amy Baker of Threadbare Print House, and Jamie McParland of Ink Brigade. All of these programs are free when you register for GPX Portland. Guys, thanks again for letting me send this one in. However, I have to admit that when you said send news, I totally misinterpreted that. So if you could go ahead and delete those other images, I would appreciate it. Back to you.
Oh man, Matt.
I was waiting. I thought, well, where's the joke, man? You always have a joke.
he just makes me laugh. I love listening to Matt, and he's got my sense of humor too. A similar style of humor where it's just a little bit dry, and you're not really sure whether you should laugh or not. I think that's what most people feel when they listen to me half the time too. So I get it.
Well, I want to go to Lon Winter's seminar, man. He's the man when it comes to specialty screen printing, that sort of thing. So, and obviously a great friend of the show. So
yep, definitely sounds like a great show. And thanks for all that news, and make sure that you go check all that out. And thank you, Graphics Pro, for your support. And I guess, Terry, the other thing I want to just say is just really want to thank all of our partners there. You know, you've got the Apparelist, you've got Screen Printing Magazine, we've got Matt here with Graphics Pro. The fact that they're willing to participate, and you know, it's not easy, as Matt, you know, kind of it didn't work out, but you know, he still took the time to record one for us too. So we appreciate that very much, and all the work that they do to enhance this program, Terry. So very good.
And you know, hey Matt, you could have just pretended you were live, man. Nobody would have known.
Good point. We've had that before. I'm going to see if I can do a whole show that way sometime. Just pretend. No, Eric is shaking his head. It's not going to happen.
No,
all right,
not going to do that. Okay.
That is off the table. Okay.
Well, I'm sure that Eric was probably thinking I was going to say something like Atlantis Headwear. I thought that was just a fable. It's real. It's a real place.
It is a real place. All right. Well, speaking of bad jokes or dad jokes, sorry, I get those mixed up sometimes. Terry, I think you've got one for us here, and I know, you know, just apologizing in advance that this is the way that it goes, but this is part of the entertainment value. We're going to get the nuggets here from Lauren in a second, but dad joke, Terry, with that, you know, kind of introduction.
Exactly. Here we go. Aaron, I'm opening a chain of Elvis themed steakhouses.
Really? Tell me more.
I am. It's for people who love meat tender. Also people who love meat true.
All right. Well, there's some good head shaking going on in the background, Terry.
Todd, that was a softball, man. Have at it.
Yeah, exactly. This will be the fun part. Hey, Terry, before you get to this next part, though, let's just say good morning to a couple more folks that are checked in. Just want to say hello here. And then we've got Hot Mesh Mom, beautiful mesh. What's this about? ? So you'll find out soon enough. We'll get to it here shortly. And then we've got Henrietta joining in from San Antonio, Texas. And Jerry says, looking forward to learning today. So Todd, I see you getting ready there. But Terry, I'll get out of the way here so I can giggle in the background.
All right. We want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We are looking for new voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. You guys have been hearing these intros for years. Lots of different folks from the industry. If you'd like to participate, go to decorators.ink./intro and just read a few sentences to be a part of every show. And we've gotten a few already, but don't be left out, and don't make me call out your names again out there. We're always looking for new guests. If you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. And we would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Podcast. Wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions.
Yes, indeed. All right. So Todd says he's all shook up over that one. Okay.
Like I said, Todd, it was a softball, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Eric. Okay. So thank you very much, everybody. Let's hear a quick word about a program that I'm working on over at our Success Group, and then we will get Lauren in here and get into what we're here to talk about today. So Eric, when you're ready. Attention all Facebook group admins. Hey, are you looking for a way to help your community of business owners achieve greater success? I invite you to partner with me to offer a mastermind program to your group. Allow our success group to handle the back end and structure while you focus on building and engaging with your community. You will help your members reach their full potential. I'm going to give you all the training, tools, and support needed to host bi-weekly calls and support your community in their journey towards success. Visit mosmasterminds.com to learn more. And the best part, you can earn up to $1,000 per quarter per group with no cost to you. Again, visit mosmasterminds.com to learn more and to schedule a call to get started today. All right. Yeah. Looking to grow some mastermind programs. So if anybody wants to talk to me about it, I'd love to do more. So, Terry, we did have one more follow up to your dad joke there. So Darren says, hunka hunka burning cow. I think Eric's gonna quit today. This could be the day. All right. Well, before I get myself in any more trouble here, let's get Lauren in here to settle this out. So we are ready to bring Lauren in. Eric, whenever you are ready, we want to welcome in Lauren. Hello. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Hey, so Lauren, we've kind of gotten away from reading bios over the years here. We kind of found it better to kind of learn about our guests just directly from them.
Sure.
It's way better than some curated bios. So tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about Handmade Sellers University. Give our regulators kind of the Lauren 101.
Okay. So I'm Lauren. And yeah, so I am an accountant turned wreath maker turned Etsy expert. So it's not exactly a normal path, but that's where, so I started as an accountant. I was an accountant for 20 years. And as I was doing that, I created a side hustle making wreaths. And then as I was doing that, I was selling them online and I sort of became, real familiar with how to do it and was having success doing it. So then I started also teaching how to sell online, specifically Etsy. So that's my path. My background is business, and I feel like right brain, left brain had a little bit of, I think I need help on the creative side. I don't need as much help on the business side, and my friends in the creative industry are the opposite. So I feel like it's a good match to help people out and to be able to sell more.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're gonna get some of those nuggets out of you here today. So I'm looking forward to it, Lauren. Thank you for being here.
This is one of those businesses that it says what it is. Handmade Sellers University. It's like my favorite sports bar here in Phoenix, cold beers and cheeseburgers. That's the name of it. Guess what they have.
Love it.
Well, Lauren, so share with us some insights into the importance of us getting out there and establishing a strong online presence. And, it's a digital world. So how can a small business get out there and establish themselves online?
I know for myself, I never had success selling locally or at craft shows or, just anywhere in my local area through, just, Facebook or, anything. So for me, I thought that in just also being, kind of introverted and not really wanting to go out and talk to a whole bunch of people to try and, I'm not really salesy. So it was just made sense for me to put everything onto a platform and people be able to check out there, people, be able to see everything that I have. And so, yeah, I think that, it obviously everything's going online, but and it doesn't have to be instead of, if you're real good at selling at craft shows and you like it and whatever and selling in person, then that's fine. It doesn't, selling online doesn't have to be instead of. It can definitely be in addition to whatever it is you're already doing, just another way to expand your audience, reach people you never would reach if you just went to, your local craft show. So people all around the country, all around the world, if you really want to. So no matter what it is you sell, pretty much, you can sell it online. I mean, anything from small things. I've seen people sell furniture, on Etsy. So it can really, run the gamut of all kinds of things.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point too. It doesn't have to be either or,
right.
But leaning into what is best for you, you've got this ability in today's digital landscape to do that with a little bit of training and support from somebody like Lauren. So good.
Yeah, I think sometimes people kind of assume that it has to be like instead of, and that, well, I'm doing fine already. Well, great, but you could do more if you wanted to. I mean, if you don't, then fine. If you want to keep it small, that's fine. But you could also make it bigger if you wanted to and reach so many more people. So
nice. All right. We've got Christine checking in. Looks like off of one of your channels there. She says Lauren's the best. So we'll all right, good. And then Sheena and Luann are checking in as well. Cool.
Hey,
well,
Luann.
Good. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Etsy here. I met you in person when you were teaching people about Etsy at an event. And so let's get right into the nuts and bolts here. Talk to us a little bit about how optimizing product listings. That way you can attract more customers and increase your sales. What does that mean, optimizing product listings?
It really means making it so that people can find them. So making it so that your stuff gets seen. You can have the most beautiful product, best pricing, best customer service, best everything. But if nobody can find it, then you're not going to sell anything. So it's, optimizing wherever you sell you have to be using keywords that buyers are searching for. So, I mean, that's the key to Etsy is thinking like a buyer, thinking how they would search for something on Google or on any kind of platform so that you are able to match and the platforms can match you up with whoever is searching. So not just titling things as a work of art or as, not just describing what it is or whatever, but really digging into it. Sort of sometimes feels like another language when you speak keywords and SEO, and it feels like you kind of have to speak like a computer, but it is a computer. You have to understand, like, you have a middleman there between you and the customer, and that's that computer and that's AI, and you have to break through that somehow. And to do that, you have to use words and you have to use keywords and you have to be able to optimize your listings so that people can find them. So
yeah, and I think based on what I learned from you at that event too, a lot of that is when you talk about optimization, it is that kind of translation, because you have to, like you said, break through the computer. But at the same time, if I show up and I just go, oh, that's just, that doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't inspire me. It doesn't make me excited to buy that product. Then you've only won half the battle and you're not going to get the sales, right? So is that kind of what optimization is all about?
Yeah, I mean, there's also, there's definitely, what I say on Etsy is that everything you do is either for the computer or for the customer. And so, the keywords and the computers, that'll get the people to your listing, but the photographs that you take and the way that you describe the product, all those things are really for the customer to understand and to, to be able to sell it to the customer, and so that they can, realize it in their own lives and realize what they can do with it and how they can use it and why they really need it. So you do have to aim your marketing at both. You have to satisfy the computer, but you also have to be able to satisfy the customer so that they want to buy it.
Yeah. So those keywords are like, okay, go this way. But once you get there, you got to have something for them to see. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because if your pictures suck, I mean, and if they don't have enough information about the product to know what this thing is or what they even going to do with it, why do they need it, then they're not going to buy. So they might get there, but then they see these pictures and they're super unprofessional. And I mean, I've seen pictures, product pictures, where people have dirty dishes in the background and people standing there and trash, and I'm thinking, who in the world would want to buy something when it looks so unprofessional? So, I mean, it really isn't hard to make a good photo. Just don't put anything in the background. But so
that reminds me of
people off fast.
Yeah, that reminds me of something I saw a while back, and it was some guy had put a picture up, and I wasn't sure it was Etsy. It could have been Etsy, but there was some reflection back, and it showed him, and he just happened to forget to put on pants that day. It was
I've never experienced that. I do talk about that because as a wreath maker, a lot of us take pictures on a door, And so a lot of people take picture on a glass door. Now I have never seen anyone with that. I usually just the image of yourself and everything is enough to just sort of be distracting. But no pants. That's a new one.
That was pretty wild.
Well, I actually over the last couple of months, 2 different kind of large companies here in our industry were doing live demonstrations on YouTube and filmed live. And I looked at it and I thought, really, you couldn't clean up a little bit? You couldn't, that trash that's on the floor, you don't think you should have probably picked that up? And because that's a reflection of your company, man. And so, I was perfectly fine. They're competitors, but
I mean, even if your product is great, if you just don't show it in a great light, not, well, lighting is good too, but if you don't show it in the best possible way.
Right. Exactly. So, and I'm guessing also that you do a little testing with keywords too. I would think that, let's see how these words work. And because here's my feeling, a lot of folks, when they're doing this, they try to think of some words and they put them up there on their computer screen, and then they just move on to do something else and never go back and take a look at those words.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I was showing some people in one of my private groups the other day, we were talking about how to clean up your shop in the off season and stuff. And I was showing them, I went back to some of my listings that have the lowest amount of views. And I started with those and how I would refresh those, how I would look at those, look at what people are searching for, what they're not searching for, and how I would, revamp those. But and I think a lot of people, and Etsy has a ton of people, a ton of sellers, and people think it's so saturated. But honestly, the majority of people do that. They go on Etsy and they put up a couple listings. They treat it like it's a Craigslist or something, and then they move on. And then they don't ever come back to it. And they don't ever look into optimizing and figuring out how it works and whatever. So that's the majority. Sadly, that's the majority of Etsy sellers. So it's honestly not that hard to break through the competition once you know how it works and you learn how it works and you work it. Then you're in a totally different league than those people that aren't paying attention at all. So
I could see that.
At that point.
Etsy's crappy. Nobody buys on Etsy. There's too many people there. It's the economy. That's why nobody's buying my
excuse
stuff.
For all of it.
It's you. It's not me. It's not me.
There's always a million. Don't go into Facebook groups because they just complain about all of it.
That's for sure. Well, and I guess talking about that right too. I appreciate that you shared that, right? Because that is a feeling that people get is, Etsy is oversaturated, but the reality is everything has that potential. I mean, there's new competitors. The local complaint is, everybody's got a Cricut now or whatever. Like, no, in our industry, that's kind of, but it's like, Terry always says this, he says there's, and I'll get it wrong, so correct me, Terry, but there a whole bunch of screen printers, just not that many good screen printers, basically. Is this kind of the saying?
Exactly.
And I think
it's the same throughout our industry and every industry. Lots and lots of people in it, not very many people who are good at it. And it's just like you're saying, Lauren, you have to go back and why didn't I get a good review of this product and studying that? And that's where people fail. They just they never go back and try to figure that out.
Well, and I think a lot of it is, they're not good at it because they don't put in the work to be good at it, right? I mean, you can, like Lauren said, you can go into the Facebook groups and just complain, or you can, do the work to like say, study that. You can do you can reach out to somebody like Lauren who's done the work and figure that out. You can surround yourself and build up to that. And so, you can tackle anything. It's just you got to put the work in to do that.
And I think a lot of people treat it like it's a side hustle, which for most people that's what it is. But you do have to put in a lot of work for it. I mean, you can't, if you treat it like a business, it treats you like a business. If you treat it like it's important, then it will reward you that way. But if you treat it like it's a just your little hobby, then that's how it's going to turn out.
You're going to have that. But but yes, you can make it whatever you want to
Mhm.
make it. It just, there's that you've got to put in the work to get there. And so,
Yeah.
I think to me, it's always everybody's just looking for the magic bullet. Lauren, tell me
Yeah.
the one thing that's going to fix my
Yeah.
Etsy problem.
Right. Blow up and viral and sell everything out. Yeah.
With no effort on my part, please. If
Yeah.
you could give me
Yeah.
that.
If I do that, then I would do that. Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, if she had that, she wouldn't be here talking to us. She'd be a bazillionaire living on her island right now.
All right. Well, so let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's talk about strategies for leveraging social media. Ways that we can drive traffic to our online stores or to create sales.
So Etsy, the great thing about Etsy is that it does have a built-in audience, and if you really don't want to do any social media, you shouldn't, you don't have to, but and there are some, Etsy experts that are, very anti-social media, and they don't, think that you should have to do it. But for me, about half my traffic comes from outside sources like social media and direct links from my website and stuff like that. So why wouldn't I want, twice as much traffic and, hopefully, twice as many sales? So for me, I use all the social media platforms I can. I mean, you don't have to use all of them. I'm just, social media. This is what I do, and this is what, is fun for me. But finding at least one or two platforms where you can, push and talk about your product is huge. And, Pinterest sends a ton of traffic to Etsy. There are people on TikTok now having tons and tons of success of, small businesses getting all kinds of orders because you can really show how you're making your product. You can show more of your personality. You can show more of that behind the scenes. And people really like that. People don't really want to buy from businesses. They want to buy from people. They want to have that personal connection.
Yeah.
And when you have an online store, you don't get the chance to walk into somebody's boutique and say hi and get to know the owner. You have to create that, personalized service somehow. And I feel like social media is a great way to do that, and put a face behind your brand and really, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like that's, creates that connection a lot better than anything.
Yeah. And like you said, it's you don't have to, but if you can drive more, right. And it becomes that balancing act. Cause to me, that kind of answers a little bit or talks to the question that Jerry had earlier, one of the regulators there. She says, how can you advise on Etsy transfer over to those of us who have a website and are not on Etsy yet? So, but talk to that the way you want to answer that. And then I've got a couple thoughts too.
Well, does she mean like how to start an Etsy in addition to her website?
Well, and I think that's just, I think that might be the question. And Jerry, you can correct us if we're wrong here, but I'm thinking that it's like, should I transfer over to Etsy?
No, I think, I would have, just like a duplicate, or maybe if you only want to sell certain products in one place. I personally I do have a website as well. And it's just mirrored basically of my Etsy shop. It's a backup. It's another source. Again, it's another source of traffic. And, so yeah, it's just, that's the great thing also about Etsy is that it's a low barrier to entry. You don't need anything but 20 cents to open a shop because that's how much it costs to list something. And then you don't pay any fees until you sell. The disadvantage with a website is, you probably have a website setup cost, you have monthly fees on websites. And then you also have fees when you sell. So when in the beginning, when you're first getting going, I don't usually advise that people start with a website because of that. There's a lot more upfront costs, but I don't think that it's a bad idea to have your own website at some point.
Yeah. And I think like you said there, kind of as a backup, the one, to me, the one thing I've seen people challenged with Etsy is it's their platform. When they want to change the rules, they're going to change the rules, right? And you can't complain about that. You can't do anything about it. You can
just
make sure that exactly. So when you have your own website, that's your playground and you get to make the rules. But again,
but the good thing about Etsy is it's kind of like your own website on training wheels. And so you can get started with listing products online, learning about SEO, learning how to take good pictures, learning how to drive traffic while you have that that cushion of a customer base. You already have the website built for you. You don't have to do all that other stuff. You learn the marketing, you learn the advertising, you learn, all that stuff while Etsy, hosts your products. And then, if you ever want to get off of it, or you want to have another shop, in addition on a website, then you've already learned all those tools.
Yeah.
And you can transfer those over. It's a lot easier than at that point to get going with your own website.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you just really answered, in my mind, you just answered Jerry's next question there, which says, I'm staying online only for now, not going to Etsy for now. So how can I take your advice and use it with my existing website? I mean, like you said, you're learning these things. You're optimizing for Etsy is the same as optimizing for your website, and obviously little tweaks to that, but
right.
Yeah. So does that seem like I'm heading in the right direction there?
Yeah. I mean, I think, there's just small differences, I think between, but for the most part, I'm using the same techniques on both.
Yeah. So like you said, once you kind of learn it and understand it, now you can take these, like I said, same techniques and sell on your own website. So, I know people that are starting TikTok shops now, or, whatever. So, I don't think that you're going to go, oh, well, I just know about Etsy. So, you obviously have that ability to, take that where you need that information. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So we talked a little bit about social media. As somebody that helps businesses, right? I know you and I have had conversations, and I know you're really big into making sure that the people also have the confidence to be successful. And so, we talked a little bit about, Etsy's got too many people on it, or there's competition, or Terry mentioned the economy earlier. We've got all these excuses, right? We've got all these things that we can point to and say, it's not me, it's out there. But how do you kind of help people navigate those challenges of competition in the online marketplace?
Sometimes even I feel like, there's competition, and there's, so many people doing the same thing. And then I'm hit with, like, the other day I was watching like a TikTok or something, and it was some creator I had never come across before. And every once in a while I go flip to their profile, and this person had millions of followers, and I'd never once seen them before. So, when you think like there's somebody out there with millions and millions of followers, and I still don't know who they are, there's no way one person can reach everybody.
Yeah.
And so, there might feel like there's competition, but there is no way there's ever going to be one person or one company or whatever that can be able to reach everyone, number one. And number two, that, people are going to like their style.
Yeah.
So, maybe they don't like the way they create something, and they want, so there's so many different, designs and people and personalities, and there's billions of doors. There might be millions of wreath makers, but there's billions of doors in the world. So, I don't think it might feel like it's, there's competition, but everybody wants something different, and you just have to put out what you have and put your face behind it and your personality. And, if people want it, they want it. If they don't, they don't. I mean, that's kind of how I have to, I have to realize it. Like, if they don't want it, then that's fine. If they want somebody else.
You just have to, what you're talking about is here's how to get in front of those people. So,
yeah.
And I think, what you're saying, at least for what I'm hearing, is, like, get in front of those people. Like you said, there's people that have millions of followers that we've never heard of. But even if they get in front of those millions of people, how many people are actually going to then, go, yep, that's my person. I think about, for me, when I became a Success Principles trainer, I followed Jack Canfield. I found him through this movie called The Secret, and there was probably 20 people on there that, really kind of, to me, felt like they had it figured out. And for whatever reason, I was connected with Jack. Right. And so it's the same thing with our products, right? I can go to Etsy and I can look up all the wreaths, or I can look up all the sublimation products, whatever it is that I'm looking for. And it's not really whose is better or what the price is necessarily. It's like, I connect with that. That inspired me to take my wallet out and say, here's my money. I want that thing.
Yeah. And everybody does things different. Everyone has their own handwriting, as far as how they design a product. And, some people like different styles. They like wreaths with not a lot of stuff. Some people like wreaths with a lot of stuff. Some people, some people like this material. Some people like that material. Like, so there's just so much out there.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's hard. It might seem scary, but there's a lot out there.
plenty of pie to go around.
Yes.
Speaking of wreaths, Hallmark is having Christmas in July movies all this month. I'm kind of a Hallmark movie nerd. And yes, I know exactly what's going to happen, but it's like a drug for me. I can't turn away.
I'm sure Lauren could direct you to a wreath that could fill that.
I know. That's what I was
There
thinking.
was one. I think that's the only Lifetime or Hallmark movie that I've seen. There was one about a wreath maker.
Oh.
I don't know why I've never watched them, but there was one there was a wreath maker, and she was so bad, but I had to watch it.
Well, okay. Speaking of, she was so bad. Talk to us about some mistakes that you see small businesses make out there. I mean, I'm sure that there's things that you see repeated over and over and over again, and add to that, how can we avoid these mistakes?
I think there's I can think of like two main things. I mean, the first thing would be one, not optimizing the listings and like we talked about, not, learning, not paying attention, not, using those right keywords and stuff. But the other thing that I think sort of people sort of forget about is staying on trend and not necessarily making what you want to make, but making what is going to sell. Or what is selling. And because I think that some of my best products or my best sellers have come from like suggestions that customers had for me, or inquiries that they had, or things that they wanted me to make that I probably never would have made on my own. But once I did, they became some of my best sellers. So, then there's ones that I make and I think are great, but they don't sell. So staying on top of trends and what's working now, what's selling now, that's really important to sort of keep your ear to the ground of what's happening, so that you can stay ahead of it, or at least stay with it somewhat. I mean, you don't want to be too trendy, because then that can blow through pretty quickly, but you do have to morph with the changing times and what people are making and how they're creating and things like that.
Yeah. That's, and I love that you said, kind of keep your ear to the ground. People always ask me that kind of question too, like, well, how do I know what's on trend? How do I'm like, ask, listen to your customers. They're telling you stuff all the time.
That's the biggest. Yeah, that's been my biggest thing. I mean, yes, you can watch trends and what stores are doing, and Etsy puts out a trend report, and Pinterest puts out a trend report. A lot of these social medias put out trend reports, and you could look in magazines and you can look what's selling in stores and whatever. But yeah, like I said, the biggest thing is listening to what my customers, realizing what has sold really fast, making more of those things, or going down that line of, okay, well, this kind of thing sold. How can I make more products kind of like this? Maybe not exactly like this, but create a product line around this, because this sold really well. Maybe I just use that same recipe or that same color pattern or whatever it is in something else. So listening to, paying attention to how fast things sell, what things that I post online get the most reactions, the most favorites, the most likes, the most comments, and really, leaning into that. And, what are people asking me about? If you do craft shows, what are people asking you about when they walked up to your booth? What are they messaging you about on Facebook? Do you have this? Do you have that? Have you ever made one of these? And like I said, yeah, my baseball wreaths are super popular. I don't like baseball. I say this and nobody will shoot me. I'm just not a fan of baseball. And so I never probably would have made one. Like I'm just not like I've never was in that. I'm not a baseball mom. I'm not in that culture. But people love them. It's one of the the biggest sellers in my shop. So I probably would have made one unless somebody asked me to, or I can't remember how it even started. But now they sell all the time, and I mean I don't get it, but there's some people out there that love baseball.
Sure. But
I don't love baseball, but I love people who love baseball. Is that what you're saying?
Especially ones that buy my wreaths. Yeah. I get it. No, and I think this is really kind of when you start looking at kind of selling anywhere, but it does come down to, we got to be proud of what we're doing enough so that we get out there and we share what it is that we're doing, and then we listen to those responses, right? I've seen this a lot, and like I'll talk to people, go out into my community, at my men's group, for example, and they asked me what I did, and I shared what I do, but all they heard was, "Oh, you make t-shirts, or you do that," and it's like, "Can you do this?" I'm like, "No, I don't, but okay, that's interesting. That's a trend. That's what people are looking for. We want this thing." And so I think it's not necessarily like I said, you answered the question really well. Like, here are some things that you can do. But I also think that a big part of it is just really kind of being willing to put yourself out there enough to share it enough to then listen for those trends too. So
yeah.
Because Jerry, I after we were kind of starting to answer this, and then I saw Jerry's question, there's suggestions on watching trends. So I think Lauren hit that pretty well. All right. Well, we've got another question here from one of the regulars from a little bit earlier. So I'm kind of changing lanes without signaling, so that's okay, that people know that that's what I do. So Ramona says, "I'm not a wordsmith," in quotes. I can put a basic sentence together, but to be excited descriptive is not in my wheelhouse. Could that be automated AI? Could that be helpful?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'm a math person. Listen, I was an accountant. I don't do words. I struggle. So yeah, I feel you. I have a really hard time writing descriptions, and I normally sort of skip over that part because I don't know what to say either. But I have, started using ChatGPT for that kind of thing. I don't think ChatGPT isn't great for keyword research and SEO and that kind of stuff, because it's a little bit behind, and it doesn't do great with that. But it does do great at product descriptions. Sometimes they can sound a little hokey and maybe a little bit corny, but you can edit them. And they give great product descriptions and ways on how to sort of sell this to somebody, and like why did they need it, and how can you talk about it so it's like exciting and fun, and for me, I know I get it, because I'm like, just buy the darn thing, like this. Here's the thing, just buy the thing. Why do I need to sell you the thing? Just buy the thing. But some people really need that. So I do think AI does a good job at that kind of thing, but always go back in there and edit it so it sounds more like you, and it doesn't sound so computery and corny. And it sounds more like your voice. So just change out some of the words, but you can get a good start that way for sure.
Yeah. That I love that you shared that, because it's so funny. If ChatGPT really kind of, at least in my world, showed up 6-8 months ago, maybe at the beginning of the year, kind of thing. And it's, you go back and look at, I can go back and look at emails that I got from people, kind of marketing emails that I got from people last year. And then I get a marketing email from that same person now, and I'm like, they're just copying and pasting. It doesn't sound anything like them. So I know they're just copying and pasting, but the reality is it's a tool. It's a time saver. We actually did a couple months ago in our success group, a full training on how we do that, right? We have to keep the human element in there, but it definitely is going to get you a great start, and then going from there. I did I started a marketing plan for a project I'm working on yesterday, and the couple parts and pieces would have taken me half day, maybe a day of research and doing other things. And I used ChatGPT and was able to kind of get similar information done in about an hour. So, but it wasn't just a copy and paste, right? I still have to feed it myself. But
well, and if you use it as a tool, Aaron, just the way when you and I did the the DTG DTF class for Printing United Alliance,
Yeah.
You went back and they wanted review questions at the end, and you went back and had AI do your review questions while I sat here for about 2 hours trying to think of questions.
I'm like, let me get that done. Oh, here you go, Terry. It's like, wait a second. Yeah. No, it's
As a
good
writer, I feel like I have to do my own questions, but I get it.
All right. Well, okay. So Rena says, buy it. It will bring you joy. There you go. Just buy it. It will bring you joy.
There you go. You
What-
should
what am I
have that-
buying? Don't
that
worry
should
about
be
it. I don't know,
Every description should be that.
Oh,
Yeah. Then I'm like, what am I buying? Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. It'll bring you joy.
Buy the
Okay. Well, okay. So we've talked a little bit about lots of different things, and I know you gave us kind of your 101. But I want to know a little bit more about Handmade Sellers University for our regulars. I know we've got some of your folks tuned in and they're familiar, but what's the latest? What are you up to over there? What can people find out, and where can they go find more details?
so on my website, laurenkilgore.com, is a lot of the, it has all my services, my courses, and things like that. If you want to sign up for my email list, just download the worksheet that's on the front page, because coming up, I will have in a few weeks a free training on how to create your next bestseller, which was real popular last year. And I go through exactly how I create, a bestseller in my Etsy shop, what makes a good bestseller. And that's it doesn't have to be for Etsy if you want to, any kind of product.
Yeah.
And again, it's not just for wreath makers, it's for, anybody who's selling something online.
Yeah.
How to make your create your bestseller, what makes a good one, how to design that, what kind of products you need, things like that. And then after that, I'll be launching my course, which is Handmade Sellers 201, and it's my course all about social media. So again, it does focus on Etsy. So we talk about Etsy, but it does go through Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and TikTok and advertising and how to do all those things to get traffic to your Etsy shop. So it's a full blown, marketing social media course on getting traffic. So that's what's coming up in the next month or two.
Awesome.
Before the
Yeah.
first year. Yeah.
Well, Lauren, we like to leave our listeners with one last golden nugget. And you've already talked about this a little bit, but look into your crystal ball and what kind of trends or changes do you expect to see in online selling in the near or far future?
I feel like we will see more platforms maybe open up. There are other people kind of coming up in the up in the ranks, and I feel like we'll see other opportunities. I feel like we'll see Etsy change. I've been on there since 2014, so it's changed many times. I feel like I'm not exactly sure what they'll do, but I just feel like we'll see a lot more players in the game. I love Etsy. I don't work for them, but I still think, I use it. I think it's effective for me, but I'm always willing to try, whatever's coming up. I'm just, like selling online in general. So, and I just think that Etsy is the best right now. But I'm curious to see kind of what comes up, how, those other platforms in the in the industry are kind of I don't think there's anybody right now that can touch Etsy. They just don't have the market, they don't have the audience, they don't have the people, but I think that'll change one day, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm thinking, like I mentioned TikTok shops earlier. And I've heard a lot of people talking about that lately, but you know what? Facebook came out and had their shops, and it didn't really seem to work out either. And Etsy stayed pretty strong throughout that. So interesting.
Yeah, but I think just keeping your ear, like it said, keep your ear to trends, but also keeping your ear to like see what's happening in the business world, in the in the marketing world, and staying on top of how these platforms work and where's the best place to sell, and just keep, you have to keep morphing with it, especially through the pandemic. We all kind of realized that we need to start selling online, and because we can't sell in person for for a couple of years, and just sort of morphing with whatever's happening, reinventing.
Yeah. And I love that too, because you've talked a lot throughout this about that's it. About changes and things, and keeping up and that kind of thing. And I think as humans, our natural instinct is to resist change. I don't want to change. If it's not broke, don't fix it kind of idea. But the reality is change is going to happen whether you're on board or not. And so as a business owner, you have to embrace that, and you have to be around people like Lauren who are willing to let's look, right? You've just shared how much you enjoy Etsy and how it's worked for you, but you've also said, hey, I'm open to other things, and I'm not going to forsake all else just because I love Etsy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. Betty just shared, well, Etsy advertises on TV, so you get more exposure there than anywhere else. So I love Etsy. Good job, Lauren. So,
Hey, Betty.
hi, Betty.
Heart.
Cool. All right. Well, Lauren, anything that we missed today?
I don't think so. I think we've talked about it all.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good. All right. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's so good to see you again today, and looking forward to seeing all the cool things you got coming up.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren. Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are lots of customers out there. You just have to get your face in front of them.
Yes.
And do it well.
Yep. Yeah. And I still, have a big belief myself, Terry, that we don't get our face in front of them because we're not confident in our business yet. And like I said, I'm glad that Lauren helped us with that question today. And because yes, it's getting in front of people. But that's again, there's no magic bullet. I can't, you could spend a lot of money on advertising, maybe, but again, are you going to make the sales? Right. So it has to be a kind of a well-rounded approach. And, so I love all that stuff that Lauren shared today, Terry. It was good stuff.
Me as well.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yep. Speaking of other good stuff, couple other things coming up, and I there's always gold nuggets. And so sometimes people don't stay to the end, and you're missing out. But I've got a couple things to share, Terry, if that's okay, if I can jump in. All right. Well, Condi's got their open house upcoming here. It's a virtual event. It's got some great education that's going to be happening. And there's a virtual event, which is July 20th and 21st. And I don't know if this is the first time they're back. I think it is, but I could be wrong on this. They're actually going to also have their in-person open house, which used to be a really big deal before the pandemic too. And so that's happening on the 22nd. So if you'll get over to dietrans.com, Eric's got it in the links there, but just go over to dietrans.com. They're calling it the Sublimation Circus. So, just look for the circus and you can check that out. David reached out and asked if I could share that. And I obviously want to do that.
I love Sublimation Circus. That's awesome. That's a great name.
Yeah, I do enjoy that.
It's no Sublimation Summit, but
it's all in the same realm, right? So, and then we talked a little bit about AI today, and so that keeps our guest last week, Dane Clement, was with us, and we're getting pretty darn excited about this upcoming event.
That's gonna be cool.
I've had several conversations with Dane since our conversation with him last week on the show, and Dane is such a great guy, and when he gets excited and when you get to see him excited about something, it's just like you can't help it, man. I was like, yes, let's do it right now, Dane. And so he's getting super excited about this class coming up here. It's called Boost Your Graphic Skill by Mastering AI. This isn't our Success Group class, but because of everybody saying, hey, we want this, we need more information about this, we said, okay, we're going to open it up to the public. We don't do this a whole lot because we do want people to be part of the membership program, but at the same time, hey, we get it, right? You need this bit. So jump in. If you'll go to oursuccessgroup.com/graphics_AI, you can register right there and join us for that class on July 19th at 7:00 Central Time. If you sign up for it, you will have access to the recording. So if you can't make the live for whatever reason, you will have access to the recording through the end of the month. So really no excuse not to join us there, Terry. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that with Dane. And I'm gonna skip down to the Impressions Expo Fort Worth. Sorry about that, Eric, but appreciate the thumbs up there. I've talked about the other deal a bit, so let's just skip down to we're all going to be there. I'm going to be there the day before, actually doing a workshop with my friends from Corel Trainer and the Magic Touch and Creo. We're doing a full day workshop called the ABCs: Design, Print, and Market. And we're going to kind of do a start to finish look at creating custom apparel from that initial design with our friends at Corel Trainer. I'm going to bring in how you make a business of this and some of the key points to the business aspect of creating a custom apparel. And then our good friends over there at Magic Touch and Creo are going to actually show you the nuts and bolts of making the products from custom apparel, from hard goods, from all the cool things that you can do. And we're just going to walk you through each step and probably have some coffee and donuts and maybe some other fun stuff there happening too. So if you'll go over to osg.link/ABCs, that will be where you can go and get more information and sign up for that Impressions Expo seminar happening there on September 13th. And that does happen to be my birthday too. So, come celebrate my birthday with me.
All
right.
Well, optional, but
yeah, exactly. You can, buy me a drink or something. No, just come and hang out. That'd be enough of a birthday present. Just come hang out. I love it. All right. Well, that's good enough for me. Terry, what about you? What's happening on Terry's Big Book of Travels?
Yeah, my complete screen printing business course schedule is I'll be at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago, way off in August 26th and 27th. I say way off because holy cow, it's July already.
I was going to say, it's going to be here faster than you know.
I'll be at Workhorse Products here in Phoenix on September 23rd and 24th. And as you said, we will all be in Fort Worth. I'm going to be speaking about direct to garment and direct to film. And I'll also be moderating a panel there as well. And Impressions Expo Fort Worth is September 14th through 16th. And watch for all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, Eric has got his program coming up today. It's episode 159, and it's called The Take Up. And today it'll be a Q&A session talking about patch stability, packaging, and creative constraints. So Eric's going to dip into the viewer questions and the discussion of materials used to keep patches stable and stiff, and how to get better registration, how to package the products, and a quick aside about creative constraints. So always a fantastic program over there at the Take Up. It's going to talk about how you can help make more and better work. So don't miss this opportunity to go over and learn from Eric, ericcampbell.com. And once you go there, just click on the Take Up tab at the top, and you can join him live at 2:30 Mountain Time to be part of the program, ask questions. It is a Q&A format. So get in there. Eric is always really good about, just talking to everybody and making sure everybody leaves with more value than they expected, which is what Eric's all about. Is one of the things I love about Eric. Yep. Is he cares about just taking care of people and making sure they've got what they need to be successful. He also has upcoming classes at Impressions Expo, including a presentation about embroidery's value proposition and more. So go over to impressionsexpo.com to check that out and see what Eric's got coming up over there. So I think we've covered it, Terry. I think we've come to the close of another show here. We want to just really thank Lauren Kilgore for joining us today. Make sure you go over to laurenkilgore.com and check that out. Download that form that she mentioned and get on her email list and stay tuned. I'm on her email list, so I'm excited to see what she's got coming up here in the not too distant future. And so again, thanks very much, Lauren, for your time today.
Exciting stuff. And we want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for all he does, keeping these the wheels on the bus going round and round, and always being on call as a last minute co-host.
Yes, he makes this thing continue to tick, and we appreciate Eric very much. Terry, next week you and I get to have a little conversation talking about a topic that I think we enjoy talking about this because I think we understand it at what it is. So we're going to be talking about pricing, kind of what pricing is all about, how we can better price our products, how we can price our products for profit. So we're going to have a whole pricing discussion, and we've done this a little bit before, but we always like to take new angles at this thing. So I'm excited for that. Terry, how about you?
You absolutely, Aaron, our show name, Two Regular Guys, came from the very first seminar I ever did at Impressions Expo. Well, it was back then the ISS show, where Mark Venett was doing pricing from the sales standpoint, and I was doing pricing from the production standpoint, and thus was born Two Regular Guys.
Yeah, there you go. So I have to be Mark Venett. So do I need to come up with the?
You do. You need to work on your MBA this weekend.
You think I can get an MBA in a week? I don't know. Let's try.
Probably.
Okay. All right.
All right. Until next week. I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.